welcome to another edition of What the Fuck Happenings in Mendham, or Tickville, or whatever. I'm sick of this shit. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm just sick of this shit. So anyway, happenings of the week. Okay, videos that other people made. Glenos made a video, which is always nice. Yes. Basically lamenting the, even the people who are on your side aren't on your side too often. Sadly. Doing the right thing for the wrong reasons kind of stuff. It's all kind of discouraging. And, that's all you can say about that. Professor Anton made a video. Oh, just horrible. You are the sunset. I suppose that's supposed to make people feel good, thinking about sunsets and, oh yes, the sunset of my existence and I'm going to die. But anyway, like somehow we're all just wonderful happenings that are taking place. We're all just beautiful colors and la 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 la. So yeah, he's getting more silly as the years pass. Anaconda made a couple of videos, of course, but just the same old wacky crap that we can't tell the difference between winning and losing, so let's just keep losing. Let's just lose. Because it's the same as win. Just these nihilists are just so disgusting. Ugh. So anyway, so that's all discouraging as hell. So on the bright side, maybe. I did have worked on the message board thing a little bit, and I did do an aphorism video for it, and very nice, very good. I think it's one of my best. Not too angry, but not at all nice, And but yeah, it's just very had a nice flow to it. Just kind of spilled out there very well, I thought, in my opinion. I did do a video for the Fairness First party, but, my heart's just not in it, because it's, I really do want a better civilization, if we have to be here, but we really shouldn't have to be here. It's just not right. Keep imposing this slop. It's just disgusting. Speaking as somebody who's disgusted with it all. So, and then, I've done my physics thing, and that ends up just being another one of these arguments from, gee, you people are all fucking silly. You really, people really just, they can't handle the truth kind of thing. They're just searching for a fairy tale. Let's make it all okay. And it's not all okay. It's really not. So, beyond that, is there anything else? Gee, I don't know. Yeah. So, I could pick a subject, I suppose, and just ramble for no good reason, but I don't know if my heart's in that either. Still not feeling, well, I was actually feeling pretty good getting over the Lyme disease, but yeah, not too great now. Might just be the penicillin wearing me down. But hey, I'm having a bit of an off day for sure. So it's it's even harder to muster up any will to fight all the stupid fucks. And they're just out there in in abundance. So I guess it's worth talking some more about the subject of how to get to people. And as I've talked before, it's like every person you talk to is a different person. They're playing a little bit different a game than you are. And so there's a difficult subtlety to what kind of arguments will work on one person versus another person. And, it's hard to come up with one argument that is universal to all people in terms of explaining something or spelling it out in some way, especially when they have people are just so unrealistic in assessing their own grasp of reality, I think. You know, profoundly unrealistic in terms of thinking how competent they are to know the truth, to judge, you know, what's wrong with the world and all of that stuff. So they just come up with silly stuff, silly, trite descriptions of the problem. And, you know, that's makes it more difficult to have the argument when you can't focus the argument on just making it logical, you know, just connecting logical dots. Because first you have to get through other people's illogical barriers to accepting the truth. A lot of that might just be called religion, or, you know, that evil optimism bias that exists. And you know, it's going to be very hard to beat that out of people. And in some sense, it's it is kind of a cruelty. You know, there's no fun in it. It's like doing the right thing, and, you know, putting an animal out of its misery. You know, it's going to be the right thing, and it's going to be a good and all that kind of stuff, but it's just not going to make you feel great. And, you know, I sort of said this in the other video, but yeah, that's sort of the dilemma. Is it's a hard sell because you know, it's not a happy. There's no happily ever after. There's no we win. You know, we play. We are the champions, and we all feel great. And just isn't that kind of story. It's this kind of horrible story where all you do is, you know, patch wounds, and you know, it's just an ugly kind of battle to prevent. And, you know, it just doesn't, preventing just doesn't have the same kind of visceral rewards as some more dramatic, more obvious circumstance where you're winning. Preventing the loss is less obvious than achieving the gain. I guess that's the kind of thing I'm saying. And especially when preventing the loss comes at the price of some sort of deprivation and sadness and unhappiness. It's just quite obviously, you know, that sucks. It's hard to see it as a win. And, yeah, so, you know, it makes it all that much harder because you're just recruiting people for, you know, a very tough, unpleasant, this better not be a tick. And I get it out of my hair without messing it up. Yeah, I did. And no, it just appears to be some sort of, I don't know, external blood clot. It's not moving anyway. So, sorry, I got all kinds of miseries. Anyway, subtle ones. Yeah, just, it's not easy. Anyway, okay, so enough of that. That's just depressing, right? The futility of the fight. You know, as a subject, it's not gonna, that doesn't help. But yeah, I really sort of have said so many things in so many ways. You know, like I said, these people are begging for a book. It's already there for somebody else to write. I mean, there's you know, lots of great emendum quotes out there, great little paragraphs now and then, you know, and where I'm fairly articulate and say something rather well. So, and I'm not saying I'm no longer have function. I just mean that I'm more focused on how to you know, create the vehicle. It's just very difficult. I mean, maybe some sort of documentary, but again, it's hard to make it so it's. I mean, I thought Old Fan did a very good job of, using humor and sort of edgy, aggressive humor even, to make a point. And Glenos does very well with that too. And it's just, and it doesn't really, people don't get it, and that's irritating. Because it seems like something that should work. But it's hard for me to. It's always hard for us, I suppose, to imagine ourselves in our previous incarnation as somebody defensive of the game, somebody capable of keeping, not paying attention, to the argument. I try to sometimes think about before I became vegetarian. I did do some rationalizing, and I might even have argued with some vegetarians. I'm not quite sure. I don't think I would have argued very aggressively, but I might have argued. Made some sort of rationalizations, and so you try to think back to the times when you were willing to do that kind of thing, or capable of doing that thing, because you were so caught up and so blinded by the game that you couldn't possibly imagine even that it all could be an insidious trap. And you were part of the Borg, and you spoke Borg, and you thought Borg, and I can't say I was ever a full member in any sense. I certainly didn't fall for the religious thing. There's lots of things I didn't fall for, but I would say I had some uncertainty as to I guess just out of my own wishes and wants, and the fact that I had some sort of idea that I could navigate a win in some way, and so I could imagine some scenario where I profited, and I was just so blinded by that profit, blinded by the idea of love, that I just wasn't really willing to forsake it for some greater good. Now, I never heard an amendum video, and maybe I would have just been totally wiped out and said, holy shit, I'm just such an asshole, and my dreams and wishes are just such bullshit. and they're certainly not worth giving kids cancer and all that kind of crap. So I think if somebody would have spelled it out to me, I would have picked it up pretty quick. I don't think I would have been that resistant to the idea that the entire biosphere was a catastrophe, and it certainly is, on a scale just insane. So anyway, like I said, I'm not even a good example because I was always a apprehensive participant. I always kind of had a subtle thing in the back of my mind saying there's something very wrong with this game, because I knew I was not very right. And so I guess part of it was my maybe just trying to hide the fact that I knew I had thoughts that were not they just didn't have any character. They were very selfish and insensitive. And but I grew out of that. So it is an interesting thought thing to try to imagine what arguments would have meant something to me in some other place in my life, and what ways of presenting those arguments would have appealed to me. This is sort of it's sort of an interesting, a screenplay for a movie, something, who knows what the right vehicle is, but I think there can be vehicles, that are that say it in a way that's consumable. I guess that's the thing I'm talking about. Is, you know, I'm not a very good presenter. I'm better than nobody, but I'm not. And I don't mean that I'm not a good arguer, or that I'm not a good point maker, or that I don't even have a little bit of humor and charm. I just mean that the presentation might require something. Maybe it's got to come from kind of different voices that are more tailored to the individual people. Kind of like you have to give the Southern folk what they want, and give the Northern folk what they like, and give the Western folk what they like, and that kind of thing. You have to put a cowboy hat on. You gotta wear your clown suit, whatever it is, and talk the language of the people. And that I'm not very good at. Unless you're doing it in a kind of sarcastic and insulting manner. I'm good at insulting other people's cultures. I'm not too good at, sincerely, allowing myself to tread respectfully, in their territory. So anyway, so it's just, it's like I said, this has sort of rolled through my mind for a few years now, and I expect it to roll into something, and it doesn't necessarily do that. I mean, I'm going to re-pick up the work I was started before about the idea of making videos that are part of a perhaps a questionnaire where you ask 10 questions, and then you explain the answers, the correct answers to the 10 questions, and something like that, and try to create a mechanism where you can do this interactive thing, where you can essentially create videos anticipating people's perspectives and allowing them to only hear the arguments they need to hear, and perhaps take some of take out some of the unnecessary bits. Make it more efficient in getting to where people's psychological home is, so that might be an interesting. I think it'd be. I think it's a viable way of enhancing the presentation. But yeah, there's just so many things to do, and so few me's to do that, and all that stuff, and so yeah, there needs to be more people who are more active, and maybe that'll happen eventually, it is a difficult circumstance, just because people are so rigid. There's probably a better word for it. There's probably some kind of, the talking heads probably have a word for this new division among people, where, it's kind of all or nothing. I mean, you either love or hate, and there just doesn't seem to be much in between. Sort of. You're certainly rigid in some sort of right-left kind of thing. So these kind of divisions, which you want to be called feminist, or no, I don't. Those people are fucked up. It's that kind of. It's like there's a lot of pigeonholes that people are just. The pigeonholes are being separated. It's like the empty space between the pigeonholes is spreading. So. Might get back to a physics thing. Anyway, so I'll refrain from talking physics, but I think I've made a lot of advances in my theory in the last 3 or 4 weeks, And so I would like to try to get to writing something up, I suppose. But the message board has a lot of videos on the individual subjects on it, and so I think that's kind of a good way to argue the subject, one aspect at a time, so to speak. And so and I think that's a step forward. So I will continue to attempt to make steps forward, and we'll see how things go and plug along and whatever. I just have to. Did quit drinking coffee, so that's one step forward. See if I can get back to exercising a little bit more, and then maybe get rid of this stupid nicotine nonsense, and and then feel just as miserable without any fun vices. But we'll hope for better than that. But anyway, so yeah, I think that's probably enough for now. So, till it be the next time, and such, and hang in there, and see what happens, and such, so forth, and the whatnot. Trolls. Yeah, I gotta make a troll video. I remember to do that. Okay, anyway, it's just the trolls it's all there is trolls. There's nobody else to talk to. Which really sucks. Anyway, till next time.